Hi, everyone. Have you been spending months in lockdown worrying about your gut bacteria? Probably not. But I'm here today to hopefully introduce you to your microbiome and help you start caring a little bit more about it. My name's Christine Garrison, and I'm a health coach, and I help the 50 plus crowd take back their health and get back their energy so that they can start going out and enjoying their life. And today I'm going to introduce you to the microbiome and tell you what it is, why you should care about it, and some small, simple steps you can take in order to increase the health of your gut microbiome. So let's get started. The microbiome, what is it? How come you never probably heard about it in high school? I know I sure didn't hear about it in high school or even college. It's kind of a relatively new area of study. It's only been in the research realm for maybe about the past 10 to 15 years, so it's pretty brand new as things go. What it is, the microbiome collectively, it's all the bacteria, viruses, fungi, protozoa, and parasites that live inside of you. But for today's purposes, I'm really only going to be referencing all of that as just your gut bacteria. And the focus for today is going to be the gut bacteria that live in your colon primarily, because you have bacteria everywhere all over you. But today we're just going to talk about the colon. So, some things that can affect the health of your gut bacteria are sleep, stress, exercise, but today's topic is just going to be focused on your diet or your nutrition and how that affects your gut bacteria. Okay, so why should you care about any of this? What does this matter to your everyday life? Well, you should care, and hopefully I will convince you that you should care, because the health of your gut bacteria truly has an influence and impact on your overall health, and they're discovering more and more like every day. So some of the things that it affects are our immune function, heart disease, cancers, autoimmune disorders, metabolic disorders, obesity, mental health issues such as depression, asthma. I mean, things that you would just never have any kind of a tie into your gut health are tied to the health of your gut. So it's pretty amazing. The list goes on and on, all the different areas that are really impacted by the health of our gut bacteria. So why now, that's why you should care about it. How do we make them healthier? How do we make our gut bacteria happier? Well, what they eat is fiber, and the only way they're going to get that fiber is by the food that you eat. So that's where you and I come into this equation. So we need to eat fiber in order to feed these gut bacteria. Now, back in hunter-gatherer days, they estimate that humans were getting about probably 100 to 150 grams of fiber a day, which is a phenomenal amount. Unfortunately, nowadays, the typical standard American diet, which also has an acronym of SAD, which fits perfectly, they guesstimate that most Americans are probably getting anywhere from 10 to 15 grams of fiber a day. So our gut bacteria are literally starving. We're not feeding them. So why is that a problem? Why do we care if we're not feeding them? And I'm going to give a little bit of a analogy, I guess, to a fence, right? This is the fence example. So we're going to pretend that in our colon, right, there's a fence, and on one side of the fence is all the bacteria, the viruses, all the stuff inside your colon, undigested food, whatnot. And on the other side of the fence is your cells, your muscles, your organs, all this kind of stuff, right? That make up you. So the gut bacteria are on this side. If you are not feeding them fiber, if they don't have anything to eat, they got to eat something. There is, on this fence, on the bacteria side of the fence, there is a mucus layer, right? But there it is. So there's a mucus layer on this fence, and if you are not feeding your gut bacteria fiber, they will start to chomp, kind of like Pac-Man, on this mucus layer. So they will eat away at this mucus layer. That's a problem because on the other side of the fence is your body cells, and they're kind of watching. They're watching this coming. They're like seeing these bacteria guys chomping on this fence and going, whoa, you're getting too close. You need to back up there, buddy, right? When that starts happening and they're getting too close to that fence, your body starts sending off all these like distress warning signals, inflammation that gets sent out, signals all through your body of, we got a problem here. The bacteria are starting to encroach on our territory. They're trying to cross over. We can't have that. All these inflammatory things start happening. And this is unfortunately where you see a lot of the disease. A lot of diseases, whether they're metabolic, autoimmune, heart disease, cancer, they all seem to have a similarity in that they're all kind of inflammation based or inflammation driven. So this is kind of the whole thinking process, is how it relates to the gut. So they're chomping away at this mucus because there's nothing for them to eat down there, and your body starts freaking out and increases inflammation. So this is why we don't want this to happen. This is not a good thing. So how do we keep this from happening? We feed them. We feed them what they want, which is fiber. Now, the advice I'm going to give here is just general advice. I am not a doctor, so always check with your own healthcare practitioner, your own doctor about you specifically and what you need in your diet. Some people, depending on some disorders they may have a little bit of issues with too much fiber in the diet. So you really need to check with your own doctor about your own needs. But in general, for most people, more fiber is good. So fiber only comes from plant foods. So that means fruits, vegetables, whole grains. And the key word there is whole grains. That doesn't mean ultra refined, super processed donuts. Unfortunately, donuts are not giving us a lot of fiber. Too bad. But so fruits, vegetables, whole grains, nuts, seeds, legumes, and legumes is just beans and lentils. That's all that is. They are all tremendous sources of fiber in our diet. So including more of those fibers, and then also along with that is a diversity of fiber is important. You can't just say, okay, I get it, it's important, whatever. I'm just gonna add, 5 more scoops of Metamucil to my water every day and be done with it. That's not quite hitting the home run. You need a diversity of sources of fiber. So that means some fruits, some vegetables, some nuts, some seeds, some different areas of fiber, because each little fiber that you get from different plant foods is going to feed certain bacteria in your gut, right? So you want to make them all happy as possible. So lots of array. And then along with the fiber and a variety of fiber is fermented foods. And so fermented foods, most people know these as yogurt, sauerkraut, miso, kombucha, and either kefir or kefir. I'm not sure how it's pronounced. I've heard it pronounced both ways. I tend to say kefir, but I think it might be pronounced kefir. So, but including some sort of fermented foods in your diet on a daily basis is a great thing. Those foods don't, the bacteria you're ingesting when you ingest fermented foods, they don't tend to like stick around for very long. They're kind of visitors that travel on through. So eating them daily kind of helps to kind of repopulate them. Those has been shown for a lot of things, been very, very helpful for digestion and overall health also. The other thing to know about fiber, including fiber in your diet, is not just to go, okay, I get it, I think it's super important, I'm all in, I'm going to double my amount of fiber. It's not going to make you very happy. With fiber, you need to build it up slowly, gradually, and increase your water intake as you are building it up. So gradually increasing your fiber. Don't do it all at once. You will be very uncomfortable. There will be lots of gas and lots of bloating if you do that. So slowly increase it, adding water along with it. As an example of this is your simple, easy step, I wanted to show you one of my favorite fiber sources, super simple, is chia seeds. Now, I'm not recommending one brand or the other. That's why I'm showing 2 different brands. I got this one 3-pound bag at Costco. Woohoo! Don't remember how much it cost, but got this just at a regular grocery store. But chia seeds are a fantastic source of fiber, and for 1 tablespoon of chia seeds is 5 grams of fiber. That's a pretty significant amount of fiber, especially for the typical human diet in America. So 1 tablespoon, 5 grams of fiber, you can add it to yogurt, oatmeal, smoothies. You can make a chia seed pudding, which I've tried to make that. It didn't turn out very well, but you might have better luck with it. So that's a super simple way to add more fiber to your diet as you're getting used to adding more plants and more fruits and veggies to your diet. If you've suddenly discovered in this little discussion that, wow, this is a fascinating subject, which I obviously think it's a fascinating subject, but this is a great book that I also recommend, The Good Gut. And I wrote it in the description with the author's name and everything. But great book. They talk about some researchers up at Stanford that this is what they research is the microbiome. Lots of information. They have a bunch of stuff. You can look it up on YouTube. You can listen to them give interviews and lectures and talks if you didn't want to read through the whole book, but quite fascinating. Lots of good information there. So I hope this was maybe some new information that you didn't know or you already knew, and it's just reinforcing your reasoning to get more fiber in your diet. Please leave a comment or a question below. If you're not watching this live, no big deal. I will post this to my pages and I will go back and read if there's any comments or questions that people might have later and respond to them. So please let me know, if you have any comments or questions. And that's all for today. So until next time, my name is Christine Garrison with Small Steps Coaching. Talk to you later.